This conference will now be recorded.
Can you see my screen correct now, Sudhir?
Yes, Murthy.
Okay. So today let's start with the AOT nodes. So we will create objects from scratch actually. We'll create base enum, EDT, tables, and forms, and going further. And we'll just have some coding part in the form. We'll take the sessions that way. So for that purpose,
Okay.
first I'll just Sudhir session one. I created a project, but the model is pointing to different. So I'll just change this model first. Go to models. There should be some model for Sudhir model, I believe.
I don't think so. Did we create it? No.
No? Okay, let's create then. Yeah, that would be great because it's good. Like all your things will go there directly.
Yes. Huh?
Is there? But is there? But why is it not coming?
There. I saw.
There, yeah, it is there. Yeah, it is there. Apply. Okay. Okay. First, let us start with this one in the data types node. Okay, so the base for anything is for while creating any application, so you should understand first the you'll have to design like first enum should be planned actually. First enum should be planned, then the EDT should be planned, and after that tables, classes, forms, other stuff, those will be planned because base enums are just options. Okay, so these are options. So when you want to speak about base enum, I'll open any one of the standard base enum, that is sales status.
Mhm.
So as the name says, enumeration. So this starts with one of the value called a, starts with 0 and goes with 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. If you want to go to properties, you could see. So this will start with 0th value and it keeps going on. Okay. So if you want a new element to be added, you can just create a new element going further. So for this example, we'll create a new enum. So for creating a new enum, right click, add new item. Okay, there is a section called data types. Under the data types, base enum. Okay, I'll just name it like with your name, then followed by enum called service type. So you can just check on the naming convention. So S should be caps and T should be caps, and it's with your model name, maybe some of the prefix of
Mm-hmm.
your model name. I'll add this. So once I add, it comes to the project section. I'll go to properties. Um, I can give some options. Maybe I can just define a label for this, say service type. And after that, I can go ahead and start creating a few elements.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if you want, so when you start creating in value, you could see the enum value is 0 here. It starts with 0 here, which means to say
Mm-hmm.
this will be a default value. Okay,
Yes.
if you don't want any default value, you can start with 1. You can start with 1, and likewise here, you can say it as none. None means nothing. So after that, you can
Mm-hmm.
just go with your option. But for me, like I'll just go with the option called in repair. Okay,
Value
in
should be
value
here,
0.
right?
Yeah, this one. In repair. Label value in space repair.
You're reading that instead of label file.
Sorry, yeah, we'll have to create a label actually. We'll have to create a label file that I'll tell you.
Okay.
So then we'll case serviced. So let's take an example like a person is coming for giving a mobile for a service. Okay, so we are going to make note of it. So for that, I have different fields planned here. As a starting point, I'm just going and planning on the EDT first. Sorry, enum first. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
serviced. So let's say it as serviced. And the third option, I'll just create and say it as delivered. So which means it has got serviced and someone has taken it, delivered. Okay. So now I am done with the EDT, sorry, enum. So for this enum, you can have a property here called is extensible, which mean to say, if you go to sales status, there is a property called is extensible to true. As I said already, uh, from 8.1 version onwards, so the customization is not possible. So you can't directly go and add any items here. Okay, add
Yeah.
any item, so which is not correct. So what we have to do is you have to extend this EDT. Maybe like you'll have to right click here and create an extension for it. This extension concept we'll see it later. After that, in this extension, you'll have to create a enum element whichever you require. This is
Yeah.
how it should
Got
be
it.
created. So it says about this property. If you set it to false, so this enum cannot be extended further.
Cannot be extendable.
This cannot be extensible.
If
Yeah,
false, it is.
right. False, it is not extensible. True, it is extensible. Okay, so
Yes.
this is with the enum. Nothing much to speak about enum. So in the database, the enums will be storing the value 0, 1, 2, 3. So integer value it is getting stored. So this text will be
Got it.
shown. Yeah, this text will be shown in the user interface. The labels of this text.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So then I will start creating a few more items. That is called extended data types. Okay, so you know about data types, right? Data types means it is
Yes.
integer, real, double. It
Yes.
goes
Yes.
like that. Okay.
Yes.
So now we are going to use the same types,
Except
but thing is that we are
only
going to
thing is
extend the,
container.
sorry, a container. Yeah, container.
Yeah. Container is new type.
You're saying container is new.
Yeah, container is new. We don't have in .NET other places. Container is new.
.NET in another place. Okay. Containers is the one. It's kind of an array. So within one field, you can store
Yeah.
multiple values, like
Same the
1
same
comma 2
types.
comma 3.
Types.
Yeah. See, the same, a different type, I believe. Good question. I'll just confirm you. I think different types also we can store. Yeah, yeah. This is different types actually. Yeah, I've done it in the past with the different types
No.
you can store.
Okay.
Okay, so thing is that you can see is date, enum, GUID, integer 64. This is in64 in .NET, and real, which is float in .NET, and string time. So a lot of things are there, no? So before that, you can see like a EDT prefix has been added, which mean to say these are all extended data types.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example like a typical company, they start their business now, and they're saying like, okay, give me an invoice number with 10 characters now, as of now. Okay, so and they don't have a futuristic plan like their business will go too much. So after some years together, some decades, so their business grew very well, and they're exhausted with the invoice numbers of 10 characters. So what they're trying to do now is they want to extend it to 20 characters or 30 characters for accommodating. Okay. So for this purpose, what I will do as an upgrade process, I'll go ahead and check where all this field I used. I go and change in the SQL database, maybe in .NET I'm saying, uh, from 10 characters to 20 characters. Am I right? I'll be changing it
Yes.
everywhere in all the places, right? But here that is not required. You can create in one EDT, and previously you can say it as 10 characters, and just simply you can come and change it to 20 characters later point of time, because this EDT I'm going to reference it everywhere. I'm not going to directly reference any of the data types there. I'm going to reference the extended data types. Okay, so when I
Mm-hmm.
do the extended data type reference, whatever change I do in the EDT, that will be applicable to in all the places where this EDT is being referenced. Okay,
Yes.
I'll show you like how to attach it to a table, how to create and attach it to a table. First, I'll create a one EDT for IMEI number. IMEI number is being a basic information for mobile servicing. So I'll just say IMEI number. Okay, so let's go ahead and review the properties of this.
You took the EDT integer. Right? String.
Sorry, yeah, EDT,
Which type
and
of
the
EDT?
string EDT it is.
Okay.
EDT string, it's here. Okay, so there are two ways you can just change this string size. One is like there is extends property. Okay, so you can extend this EDT to a different EDT, maybe a standard EDT that is already available. Consider name,
String
one of the
255.
EDT that is available. This will show you only the string EDTs. Okay, once you do, I selected name as one of the EDT. Okay,
No, why can't you type string?
where
There is, there is a type string also.
string
In
is not
EDT,
that much, right? It's a generic one. String is a generic one
yes,
actually,
string.
so we will not be using as
S,
part of
str,
yeah.
yeah,
So
str
this
and
is
turn
generic one
220.
actually. See, for example, string 255 is a generic one. Okay, so but instead of string 255, we will be using description 255. That's also string, but it's good to use description 255. That's how the standard works. There are two things. One is description, and one is description 255. You can use any one of them, and it's
But
not a compulsion that
using,
you should use one. Yeah,
if I use
go
string
ahead.
255, best practice violation, or I need to create, because I know
Uh,
I need a string 20.
no one stops you from using string 255, but string 255 is saying like it's a generic one actually. Most probably we will not be using that. So if you wanted to use it, maybe like there are in the string 255 or in the string, so there are a lot of edts available, I believe. So for 10 characters, 20 characters, something like that, 30, 50, lot of custom is there. Maybe for integration purpose this is most useful. So if you feel like using, you can use it. So nothing stops there. If you want to use this
Okay.
20 characters, you can use this, no problem. Okay, or you don't want to extend, you can just simply just take it up. You want to say this is a base EDT, you can just define the size here as 30 characters. That also will work out.
I think when you are creating EDT, new EDT type, defining our size is best. It is not going to affect anything.
Defining extends is best actually.
Defining extend is best. Best.
Extend is best because like someone feels so in you use a EDT for name actually. Consider, okay, by
Mm-hmm.
standard now the name EDT has got 60 characters. But in future, Microsoft changes the name EDT to 80 characters or 100 characters, let's say, for some reason. So your
Mm-hmm.
application, when you are extending that EDT, name EDT to yours, so your objects also will take 100 characters. You need not do any changes there.
100 characters. Okay. But if
But
I extend here,
mm,
if I extend the name EDT, if I want to more size to my EDT, I cannot get it, right?
more size you can't get it. That's the problem. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
that's also a
problem.
problem. Means it's up to, yeah,
No,
means
that's the
I'm
problem.
asking, is it best
That's
practice or
it's a yeah, it's not nothing like a best practice actually. So best practice is like if you feel like see, I said about a name example, right? So name can be 60 characters always. So I'll go with the standard in that case. So if I say 70
uh,
characters also, that's okay. But thing is that this EDT creation and assigning, so that is up to me actually. So as a developer, I should decide which is best for me to accommodate the information.
got it.
Okay, so even while planning for .NET development or something, so people will say, I want a field here, I want a comments field here. So it's a developer activity to identify should be the size of it. So no, it's very hard. Like people will say, I want 60 characters as a requirement. That's very hard. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. So string size is one of the property extends I said, and form help mean to say like this EDT is linked to any of the form. You can directly give it. What happens wherever a lookup is made, so that this form reference will be coming. And about other properties like there are any other. So display height you can change it. Let me set it to auto. So otherwise, what display height you want is if you are creating for address field, you can just create it for display height to be 5. So 5 length it will be coming. It's like that. So this is all about the properties of the EDT. Then we'll go switch over to the array elements. So array elements it's on peculiar node. So where you would have seen timesheets, used timesheets in AX, right? So timesheet comes with you use timesheets in AX earlier.
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Time. No.
Timesheet comes with day wise actually. So it starts from Monday to Sunday or defined whatever
Mhm.
the starting bit of it. So when you see the Monday to Sunday, it will accept 7 values. Monday one value, 8 hours,
Mm-hmm.
8 hours it accepts. Any timesheet you take, right? 8 hours it accepts. In
But
Dynamics
default
standard, hmm,
array elements is default when you came to the right? You created the table or
It's default, yeah. These nodes are already available. I didn't create it.
for this
This is all.
EDT?
Yeah, yeah, for every EDT, these nodes will be there. Yeah. So
Okay,
if you're
okay.
defining the
Just
array element,
explain me the same.
yeah, if you're adding the array elements, you can add it. If you're leaving, leave it. No problem. It's like that. Okay. So to speak about array elements is like let's say it's about a standard array. Okay, what a .NET array does for a single variable. Okay, it stores multiple values. If I define an array for 10 characters, sorry, 10 array size of 10. So within the same variable, I can store 10 values inside. Similar concept. So in standard AX timesheet, they have, maybe I can just try to find you, but I'm not sure. Timesheet hours. PS timesheet hours. Yeah, weekly hours. Let's see if this is there. You can see here. So there are array elements for day 1, day 2 till day 7. Which mean to say this will store this is a 180. 180 means one single field. One single field will be storing 7 values here. So starting from this TS weekly hours will store first value, followed by these 6 values. Okay, this is nothing but an
Okay.
array.
Okay.
In the database, like it will be splitting and storing into 7 values. And table relation, like so whenever you wanted to use this table anywhere else, maybe a relation you can create. So whenever you use this EDT, you point it to it, you point it to,
Mhm.
you just do a lookup. So whatever the relation it is available, it's coming. So I think this will be available in cust table. It was there earlier, let's say cust account, one of the EDT. This is getting absolute now, so this is not getting used. Instead of this table relation, they got with a node called table reference newly now. So this table relation they are just keeping because to support the original, what do you say, support the previous versions. So previous version had
Backward
table relations,
complete.
yeah, backward compatibility. So they had relations here in the table relation node. Still it is available for few things, but if you're trying to create for a new one, it will not be available. So you'll have to go ahead and create a new table reference, and under the table reference, you'll have to add the relation to get that done. It'll go off. This node will go off in future. Okay, this is about EDT. So I'll just quickly create a few more EDTs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I'll create one more EDT called SUD brand ID. So to define what brand this mobile is, and I will just add a new item again. So this time I'll add dates. Okay, so this can be defined as service start date and service end date.
Mm-hmm.
This is service start date, and add new item. Service end date. So two dates I created. So I'll create one more field. So we'll end it up with that. ADT. Okay. So we are done with it now. So this is about EDTs actually. So I can create many number of EDTs according to the types that are available. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and create tables. So I create tables, new item. For tables, I'll have to go to data model, table, give a proper name for it. First, I'll create one table for storing the brand. So this is to show you a relation, how the relation works. Okay. So SUD brand table is there. What I can do is to create a field. What I can do, I can simply drag and drop the created EDTs here. This is one way of doing it. Once you go to the properties, you can see like already the brand ID. This will be associated EDT brand ID for this field. So then I will create one more field, and I'll name this as SUD description. So if I go to properties, here I'm trying to use the standard EET called description. Description, I'll give a proper name, because when I give description, it takes labels from there actually. I don't want to do it. So let's say it as a brand description. Okay. So now this table is ready. So the next fee, when you say about the properties of the table, so first it speaks about the label. So brand, mobile brand information. It's a table name. So this title field and title field 1 and 2, which mean to say if you're opening any customer in a different screen, okay, you're opening the related customer, so it will show you in the top area. So the few information about the customer, maybe a customer ID and a customer account. When you open any web pages, it will show some information about it, right? It's something similar to that. So first field, what it should display, I can define it here. What this table is defined of. Second is description. Okay. And few more things I can speak about is index. I'll come back to that. And table group. Table group is like there are different types of tables available. Maybe main table, group table, parameter table, transaction table. Maybe if you see about main table, customer account, vendor account. So these are all main tables. So it stores main information about it. And when you see about group, customer group, vendor group, these are all group tables. And parameter, as you know, like accounts receivable parameters, vendor parameters, expense parameters, any parameter table, like so that can be stored there. And parameter table will always be having only one record at a time per company. It will not have more records, only one record in that table. And other things like transaction worksheet table and worksheet line, worksheet header, sometimes they'll use it for what is it, sales tables. The transaction table is like any customer transaction tables, it will store there. So you can define it. Right now, my table is SUD brand table. This is a main table. I'll pick it up that. And OCC enabled is nothing but optimistic concurrency control. This will be by default enabled. So you need not do any changes here, which means to say if you are trying to open a record and someone else also trying to open a record for edit. So how the system will handle like whose update should go first and whose update should be rejected. So this is handled by a field called a rec version. So there is a, for every table there is a field called rec version. So once you take the record and someone else takes the records, the same rec version will be shared to them. If you update the record, the rec version would have been changed. So the other person should refresh the record for getting it updated. Okay, then about these fields, configuration key. Configuration key is like you can maintain like, so whether this functionality or this table should be available in case regarding to my purchase. For example, few person doesn't want finance or doesn't want expense management. So there is a configuration key or TRV, I believe, TRV. So if you link to this, so all the objects you create for TRV, you link this configuration key. So once you disable that configuration key, so people will not have access to that. They can't see any records here, or they can't insert it. Even the forms associated to this, they can't see it.
Yeah.
Then created datetime and modified by modified datetime. So like I would like to know like who created the record and what datetime they created the record, and it's modified by whom. So like those informations can be viewed there. So when you activate this field, what happens in the system, what happens, it creates two fields, created by and created datetime. Automatically it gets created and it keeps storing the record. You need not write a single piece of code for it. And there are properties like developer documentation. So this developer documentation is like, it's a must for all the tables. So you should give a proper description about what this table is doing. Maybe it's storing the brand information. So you should say like table SUD brand table stores the mobile brand information on a dot. Okay, so and about other properties, save data per company. Save data per company, yes, means like which mean to say for every company the data will be stored separately. For your USSI, USMF, if you save data per company is no, which mean to say this will become a share table. So in case of HCM worker table, the HCM worker table is a share table because workers are shared across the company.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. You can see save data per company is no, which means this table stores global information. Okay,
No,
and
my
what
question is here, we can take sales order. Sales order will store the company, that field is yes or no, because it stores not particular to the company. You are separated data area only, right?
yeah, it is it's a save data per company yes table because for every company the sales order will be different, right? So you can see save data per company is yes.
Okay. But behind this, since it is a one table, which is stored you separating, getting separated with the data area ID.
Correct, you are right. So there is a one more field called data area ID that will be created. For that field, it will not store any data area ID, so that we can just utilize it.
Okay.
Okay. So a brand table. So then I'll speak about a few more property table type. So this is important. So your table type, whether it is a regular table or it's a temporary table. So when you say it's a regular table, which mean to say that it is going to store the information permanently at every point of time. Okay. So there are two other tables of temporary tables. One is in-memory table, another is a tempdb table. These both are temporary tables. The difference is that in memory means, so if you have few information, for example, you're going to, this is used for basically reporting purpose. Okay, so if you are opening a report and you want to show only few information about a customer, you can go for this in memory table. Thing is that this in memory stores the data within the machine where it is run. Maybe you're opening an IE, it goes to the temporary folder, creates the data there, and it pulls back to your system. Okay, it's very faster. Whatever the things that is stored in a physical folder, to retrieve it back is very faster. But the thing, the other way for tempdb is this information will create a temporary table in the SQL, and it stores the information there and it pulls back. Okay, so if you have large number of information, you can go and create this temporary tempdb. It creates a SQL table in the SQL virtually, and it stores the information for you to process. Got it? And when
Got it.
there are a lot of records that are coming in, maybe more than 256 KB, I believe. That's what I believe. So if it is larger, if you selected in memory and you're trying to feed a lot of data, so it will automatically go into a tempdb table and start working like that.
Even if you give the in-memory also.
Sorry.
Even if you give the in-memory, if the data is more than 56 KB, it automatically turns into 10 MB.
Yes, exactly. That's how it will done.
No.
Yes, it is. Okay, fine. So other types, I'll say about this valid time state. Maybe this valid state times like date, UTC date time. Date means it normally gives a date. UTC date time means it gives with date and time. So when I select this to date, what happens is that two new fields will be created here with start date and end date. Okay, so in some cases like a mobile vehicle rental or something, someone takes on a particular period, let's say he starts on Monday and he leaves on Friday, so you want to make note of the dates most frequently, right? This is a normal requirement. So you need
Mhm.
not write a piece of lot of codes like to validate like start date should be less than the end date should be greater than the start date. A lot of validations are there around these conditions, right? So to skip that, you can directly click on this date. When you say date, you can see like two fields will be added, valid to and valid from, and one index also will be added. I think we have to create the index. Okay, so these two fields will be added, and you can just drag and drop to the index along with the primary index. So which mean to say in this combination, only one field, only one will be there, and this will take care of the all the validation what I was speaking about, the start date and end date validations. Okay, I'll
Mhm.
delete these two fields and I'll go back to properties and change that. It's not a date, it's none. Yeah, and the support inheritance is one of the property. When I make it to yes, so thing is that there is a field called instance relationship type will be created, and we can extend this table to another table. So this instance relationship type stores the table ID of the extended table. To give you an example, there is a vehicle table, generic vehicle table that is there. Okay, I can create. Further, I'm going to create some table for car and some table for truck. So, but vehicle, some fields will be like a common between a car table and truck table, right? Maybe vehicle chassis number, vehicle number. This will be common between both the tables. Instead of creating all the fields in all the table, I will create all the base fields in one table, say vehicle table, and in the car table and truck table, I'll just say it as extend from the original vehicle table, which mean to say
Yeah. Means vehicle table supports inheritance else and car table
yes.
supports inheritance no.
Yeah, so thing is that I'll create a table called vehicle table, and I can create a table called car table and truck table. So in the vehicle table, I have two fields now. So let's say chassis number and vehicle number. Okay. So in the car, there is a one more table I'm creating called car table. So I just wanted the same information here, chassis number and vehicle number here as well. And in the truck table also, I wanted the same information. Let's see. And the car table, I want a few more table, car model, and here I have an fleet ID, something. Okay. So instead of creating this duplicate field, what I will do is I'll say this is extends vehicle, and this also extends vehicle. Sorry, this also extends the field called vehicle. So what I will do, these two fields will not be available. Need not create these two fields, and it will not allow you to create also with the same name. But when you open in SQL, this table will be having three fields, and this table also will be having three fields virtually. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So this is used in dir party table, that is for address relations. It is used there in standard.
Dir person name also like that, I think.
Yeah, yeah. The dir person, that complete hierarchy is there, no?
Hmm.
Dir party table. Supporting items, yes, and
So is dir person name?
I think so. This table, yeah, it's dir party table. I'm saying about dir person name.
Yeah, dir person name. It extends party, I think.
This also stores party. It's just a dir person
Extends.
actually.
No, this is huh?
This just it doesn't extend. Only dir person extends actually,
Hmm.
not dir person name. This is the table that extends dir person.
A dir party type, but dir person name nothing. But it's not using the okay dir party table.
Yeah,
Dir person and dir party. Okay,
dir person and dir party table
got it.
only.
I got
That's
the
it.
concept.
Okay, fine. So let's see. Quickly, we'll just save this, and we'll go back to the field groups next. Okay, let's go back to the field properties, and we'll speak a few about properties. Label. So if you're not giving any label here, if there are any label in the extended data type, it will pick that automatically. Okay, and help text, you will have to give any tooltip help text. So when you hover a field, you wanted to get displayed. And visible property, you wanted to set visible to no. Maybe you don't want to visualize in that field in user interface, but you wanted to use for some calculations. In that case, you can just make it to visible false. Allow edit. You don't want this field to be editable again, and only allow edit on create. So allow edit on create, when you set it to yes, only while editing the record it will be there. So while only when creating the record it will be allowed to edit. So after you create the record it will not be allowed to edit. That's how it is. Okay, so normally what they will do is, for the primary key fields, they will allow edit, they will make it to no, and allow edit on create to yes, and mandatory to yes. So which
Mm-hmm.
mean to say primary key fields will be mandatory, and after creating, in the creation time it should be allowed to edit, and after creating it should not be allowed to edit.
Got
It's
it.
like that. Okay, again there is a configuration key. For some reason you wanted to display this kind of field there. This can be not applied to table also, but fields also we can apply it, configuration keys. And this extended data type, few more things I'll just walk you through. And name of it, nothing bigger in this table field properties. Then we'll go back to field groups. In the field groups we have auto report, so we have auto reports there. If you want which fields to be available in auto report, you can just do it. And brand id and brand description, lookup. So wherever this we create a table relation and we do a lookup, so what are the fields that should be available in the table lookup? If you say like I'll delete this description and I'll show only brand id, I can do that also. On auto identification, summary and browse or standard field groups, you can use this. And if you wanted to group something, you can create your own grouping also. So say brand group. So that you're there online.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I heard a drop sound. Okay, brand group. So then I can just drag and drop these fields to this brand group. Okay,
No,
so
whatever the
now
field
this
groups by default auto report. No, no. Field groups, auto report, auto lookup, auto indentation, auto summary, and auto browse. Those will be not useful for display order in the form. Those are
correct,
automatic,
correct.
auto generated. Which once you create the table, it automatically those field groups will come. When you display in
Yes,
the
yes,
form, you need to create own field groups, right?
yes. The only these field groups will be available in the form. This will not be available. This has got a different meaning
Okay,
actually. Auto lookup means only lookup. Auto report means auto report.
okay, got it.
Okay. So then there are a lot of field groups as you asked. Like so maybe they see they here they create different field groups based upon the grouping. We can do create multiple field groupings. Okay. So we'll go back to the next node, index. So index, there are two types of index. One is a primary index, another is a cluster index. Primary index is considered as a unique index actually. Okay, so I can create a new index, and the name of the index should be something like first it should start with which field, and followed by idx, brand id idx, this brand id idx. So here there is a property called allow duplicates to no, which mean to say this should not take any duplicate values.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in any point of time you can just come and enable or disable, and here also you can see the configuration key that is available.
Got it.
So for creating an index, what I have to do, I have to drag and drop or create a new from here, new field. Otherwise, I can drag and drop simply. So now I created a primary index. So this I can set it as a primary index in the table level. I'll go back here and set that brand ID IDX. So surrogate key is something like this is a rec ID. Surrogate key corresponds to rec ID. By default, rec ID is taken as the index. If you want to override it and want to provide your primary index, you can do that. Likewise, what I said. So full text index, I don't have any information. Maybe where it's used. I read that it's used in SQL. Maybe I'm not sure where it is used now. So even in here, I couldn't able to find any full text index. I don't know what is this for introduced here. So when I say about
Mm-hmm.
relations, so for speaking about relation, I'll create one more table quickly with few other fields. I'll create one more table. let's say it as service table. Okay, to the service table I drag and drop a few fields now. So one is first I'll drag and drop this IMEI number which is required, then service type, then start date and end date, then the service description. Oops. Service description. In the field group I can create some groups like date, drag and drop only these two here, and usually we'll create a group called identification. How this is identified, maybe by this and this been identified. Okay, so it is best practice to create and arrange it in the field groups. So then I'll quickly create some index for this table. IMEI IDX. I'll drag and drop this IMEI number here. So now till the index it has got created quickly. So now we'll go back to relation table. So what we are trying to do now is I'll close all but this. So there is one more table called SUD brand table that we created. Okay, so this brand ID, whatever available in this brand table, I'm trying to look it up here. I'm trying to form a lookup through relation. Let's say new relation. So this relation should be always named with the table which you're going to refer from. And I'm saying as related table. So it is SUD brand table. Okay, so there are different properties here. Maybe like you want to see cardinality. So the field of the other table, how it will be stored here. Maybe you want it as 0 or 1. Maybe it's a mandatory field here. Or is it will be stored exactly one time or many times, or 0 or more, or 1 or more. This combination you can just pick it up from any of the standard tables. So I'll say 0 or 1. So maybe I'm saying it's optional. Can be stored or may not be stored. And in the related table cardinality, in the related table, how it is there? It can be 0 or 1 or exactly 1. In our case, it should be exactly 1 because 0 or 1 is not possible. We are referencing it. 0 or 1 combination will come like when you are adding um, 2 3 relation. Condition for relation is 2 3. Maybe like a brand ID equal to that and a date equal to this and something like that. Okay, so if you are adding two more, that may not exist. In that time, nothing will come. So now I'm saying exactly 1. And relationship type, I don't have much information about the composition, link, and aggregation or other stuff. So usually we'll go with association. Fine. I'll come back to this on delete property later. I'll save this, and after that I can go ahead and create quickly a relation called normal field fixed and related field fixed. And before that, when I right clicked on relation, you could see like there are two types that are come, right? Relation and foreign key relation. Foreign key relation relation means it will take a normal relation with a string fields we can create. Foreign key relation, like it automatically creates a field over here in this table right here. Okay, it creates based upon the rec ID. So when you say foreign key relation, when you select a table, automatically that field will be getting created in the base table here using the rec ID relation. So we'll just leave this. We'll keep it simple. Like we go to new, and when you say new, there are three types of relations. One is normal field fixed and related field fixed. Again, like a normal is normal relation. So let's say like brand ID equal to the field's brand ID, and field fix is something like you want to filter. Maybe like I want to filter only few records from the table, that you can do it. And related field fixes in the table that is coming from the related table, I want only few information to be populated. So these two field fixed and related field fix, this will be triggered by using enum. Okay, enum. So this will not be much used in AX. So we can just control this by writing a lookup method, standard lookup method we can write, and we can control it. So just for an idea, you can know it. but most probably used as normal relation. When I click on normal relation, you can see like relationship type is got created, and it says what field I'm going to relate to. Let me check. Okay, the field is not created, right? Quickly, I'll just drag and drop this field, brand ID, SUD brand ID here. Okay. So now I'll go to this relation. I'm going to take brand ID. From the other table, I'm going to take SUD brand ID, not the description one. So now when you do a lookup, what happens? The data from the previous table will be available here. Okay, and delete action. So previously delete action was available in the what do you say, it was available in the base table. Mean to say there are two tables, consider there are two tables called customer account and customer transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say cust table, cust trans. Okay, if there are any records that are present here, records, there are some records present here. I wanted to I can just say that if I try to delete, for example, there is a customer one, say cust one, cust two. Okay, so if I delete for customer one, there are transaction like 1 2 3. There are trans like 1 2 3, maybe 0 0 1. That's a transaction. Cust 1 0 0 2. Let's say cust 3 0 0. Sorry, cust 2 0 0 3. Okay, so for first customer there is one transaction, and second customer there is two transaction, and I'll write one more customer, cust 3. For cust 3 there is no transaction. Okay, so the property called delete action, what is that is defined as, so if there are any transaction that is present in my child table, maybe this is linked to first table. Okay, so this trans is related, maybe related to cust table. So if there are any transaction that exists, I should not be able to delete this customer from the base table. Okay, so for this there are different options that are available. So on delete property, so on delete means if I'm going to trying to delete a record in the cust table, if there are any transaction, what action I should do, whether I should allow or not. If you say it to none, it will allow you to delete the transaction. Okay, delete the
Got it.
master table. Okay, so if you say cascade, what happens once you delete, the transaction also will get deleted. None will not do that. None will leave the other table record orphaned. Okay, restricted will say like if there are records in this table, if there are records in the customer transaction table, it will not allow you to delete this customer record here. It will say there are records present here. Okay, and there is cascade plus restricted, which means to say it will behave as restricted when done through any form or something, but through code you do, it will be cascading, which means to say that it will delete the transaction. For us, we'll just say it as now restricted, and we'll write how it behaves. Okay, and state machines is used in workflow. So even I don't have any good sample, so even in the standard it's not good sample is available. And mappings is like previously it was available under a different node. So there was a node called map here. The maps are
Yeah,
available.
map.
Maps were available, so here I can just go ahead and open a map, and in this map I can just create a new mapping for a table. I can create a new mapping. So once I say that new mapping, I can give the table name. To that table name, I'll say this field is mapped to some field in the map actually. Okay, so now what happened, we'll not be able to customize the standard maps or standard tables or whatever it is, right? So what they did, they gave a new node here called mapping. So here you can say it as new mapping, and once you say that, you can select the existing map you select, and it will give you all the fields how it is related to. You can just define it. If you wanted to do it, you can just define it. So this field is related to my field. How it is related to my field? Maybe item ID. So that's a
And
different
where
item.
where they use this maps? What is the usage of these maps?
Maps are using for reporting purpose. Maybe like in some cases, you may not know what type that is coming in. Maybe it doesn't know vendor is coming or customer is coming or any other informations are coming. Okay, so there will be some common fields in the vendor table and customer table, right? I'll pull them into single group. Okay, single group, and I'll create a map. Let's say name. So I'll create as name. I'll create a mapping with customer name. Similarly with the vendor name. So I'll create a new field in the map called account. So I'll create as customer account here, link a customer account there, and vendor account there. So it's a generic kind of stuff. I can just populate into that table and I can use it in the code. Okay, you understood?
Okay. Not fully. I have to do it.
Yeah, maps. Yeah, map is like not mostly used. Maybe I can just give you example. Cust wind map or something. Cust wind account map. There is something. When you open. Cust wind group. So try one last. If it's not there, I'll leave it and tell you later. Custom table. Okay, I'll give you an example later for this. Okay, so how this map is done.
Yeah, this map
I'll
is
give
the
you an
bouncer
example.
for me.
Yeah, but don't worry, this is not used much. Maybe different complex scenarios. Then we'll go for this map. Delete this. Okay, I'll say okay. And methods are something like we can just write the code for the table. Maybe once I'm going to insert, I can write some code after the insert what I want to do. So before inserting into a table, I want to do some validation, or when a new record is getting created, I want to pass some default value. So this kind of stuff can be done in the methods, and you can create your own methods also. Maybe in our next session, we'll just go deep into these methods and take each and every method, and we'll try to go about it. For now, I'll just leave this table like this. This table, I'll try to show it in the front end. Okay, for showing this table in the front end, I'll have to create a form. Okay, so form, I'll go create a new form, add new item. So for form, we'll go to user interface. Form should be named with the same as a table name. I can create one form for brand table and one for service table. Okay, so once I create a form, you can see SUD brand table form has got created, and data source node is there. So where you can add your tables. Methods are there, any event corresponding to this table. So while opening a form, while closing the form, I want to do some operations, I can do it here. And right side when it comes, it's a design. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
this design, you can see the pattern, it says about a pattern. So there are plenty of patterns, more than 30-40 patterns that are available. We can just see it in future sessions. Right now, I'll just apply a pattern here. So which means to say simple list. So if my table has got only more than, sorry, less than 5 fields, I can go to the simple list pattern. Once I apply a pattern, you can see this expects some kind of a layout. So which means to say when I open any of the form here, I'll go to accounts payable, open all vendors. Still opening. Okay, so when you open a form, you can see different layouts that are available, right? So the first here, there are buttons, and here you can see some filter section is available, and here is a grid. Okay, so this is a kind of a different form, maybe a list page form or something like that. So similarly, like we have different forms called payment term is one of the form which is following simple list pattern. There are a lot of patterns that are available. That is the same thing it is asking. So first it should have an application pane, then a filter group, then the grid should be available. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create one by one. New action pane. And what is the name actually? It's we can say it as an application bar or action pane or whatever. Okay, so then it's expecting some filter group, but the name of the control is group. So I'll go ahead and create a new group here. So I'll just rename this into a group.
Again, it is expecting a pattern.
Yeah, it's like it'll again expect a pattern. So this sub pattern, it has got sub patterns. These are all sub patterns. Filter group. So then it's again expecting a pattern to select. So we'll select. There will be only one pattern called quick filter, custom and quick filters. So once you say it, it is expecting one control called quick filter control. We'll add a new quick filter control. Yes. Quick filter. Okay. So then this is done now. You can see like nothing is error. So we'll go back to the top node now. So it is expecting a grid. So we'll add a grid. So we'll just rename this to be grid or grid control. Anything, you can just rename it. So for this grid, the data should be populated. So the data can be populated from this data source node. So we'll have to add few data sources, brand table, something. So when you open any standard forms, maybe let me open a standard form called sales table. You can see there will be lot of data sources that are available for them on designer. It's like a lot of data sources will be available. It's not like one data source. We can add many. So this data source corresponds like what all this grid or any information that has to be passed to the design node. So those data sources should be added here. So once I add, I'll go to the properties of the data source. Here are few properties, which is link type. Link type is delayed, and link type is active, inner join, outer join. A lot of things are there. When you say about delayed, which mean to say when you open a grid and you keep clicking the down arrow button, so when it will do a relationship to the base table, relationship to the base table. So when you key up the record, so it will just delay for that relation and it will do it. So the other option is active. Active means like so whenever you click on a button, it keeps adding the relation. So this will be performance related thing. Then again, you can just do an inner outer join, exist join, or not exist join. This is something to do with SQL same joins actually. So nothing much difference here. So by default,
Mhm.
we can just go with the delayed join because whenever we wanted, whenever we leave a record or something perfectly, so only then we have to make the join between the tables. So this can be visualized in the sales table stuff. You can see how this is joined. So for sales line, it is joined with the sales table using the delayed join. Similarly, like we have inventim table joined with sales line table. We can keep going for adding the information here. A normal select statement you write in the SQL, you will have a lot of joins, right? Inner join, outer join, you keep doing it, right? Same kind of thing we can do it here. Fine. So then what I will do is I'll add the brand table as a data source. Okay. So I verified a few properties and I want to speak about one of the property here, insert if empty. So if you make this property insert if empty, if the form is empty, it will create a new record and show it to you. Sometime it doesn't require, so I'll just make this property to no. And apart from that, it's fine. This things are fine. So then I'll go to this grid. This for this grid, I'll tell like which table this grid is going to populate the data from. Say the data source. Now it will display the data sources only between this form actually. It will not display from the AOT. Only from the what are the tables that are available in this data source. Only this will display. And you can see a thing called data group here. It shows here brand group. Maybe as you said, auto identification and other stuff doesn't come, but the report comes actually. I'm visualizing now.
Oh,
Brand group. And fine. So when I select a brand group, so it just created the fields that are associated to that group. So now this is done. This form design is done now. Now when you select the design pattern, you can visualize. There are two things. One is pattern and one is preview. Once you preview, we can visualize like, so this is how it will be displayed. You can click on this to go to that particular field here also. If the form is too big, you can just open in the designer and you can just say manage. It will open like where this manage button is there. Okay, so I'll just go back and create one more form quickly so that we can just play around with it, inserting the data and other stuff. Open. I'll just see close all documents. Or let's open this form first and we'll just visualize. So before opening the form, so form is not the end part of it. So we'll have to create a menu item for this form. Only then we can access this form from the front end. Okay. So I'll create one more node called menu item. So in the menu item, there are three types. One is display menu item, one is action, and one is output. Display says like any form is there. I'll be assigning it to a display menu item. Action menu item is like any classes, runnable classes or something is there. Then I'll go to for the action menu item. And output menu item, any reports. Since I'm having a form, I'll go to this display menu item now. So I'll say it as SUD form name, brand table. Same name I can give. Here, I'll go back and specify the label for this. Say brand details. This is the name that will be displaying in the front end. Here you can see some configuration keys available for getting it disabled. And here I'll select that. CUD brand table. That's done. So this query property will be used in case of list pages. So the data for the list page will be provided through query. There is one type of form called list page form for that it will be provided. And enum parameter. So something like you print a report, and there are two options for printing a report. One is original and one is print. If you would have printed a report, so you want to use the same logic. So what you will do is like you will create a one enum with enum parameter is called copy and one with enum parameter is called print. So I think that enum type is print copy original. Print copy original, and you can select what type you want, copy or original print. You can handle this in code actually, basically. So for our example, it is nothing to do here. We'll just leave all these things like this, and we'll go back to we associated object also, right? Yeah. So we'll have to put it in a front end. For now, what I'll do, I'll not create a new menu or something. I'll try to add this to accounts payable menu under this vendors directly. Directly, I'll add
okay.
it here, for example. So for that, I can go back to my user interface section and menus. Under the menus, there is accounts payable module. I'll I can't directly edit it. So what I will do is I'll create an extension. I'll tell you what is extension is later. For now, you can just understand. Extension is something like I can't do anything to the base object, base things that is available. Only I can just modify. I can include my new changes actually. That's what I
Yeah,
can
got
do
it.
with
Got
it.
it.
Okay. So I'll just quickly go ahead and rename this. Is that rename not possible? Should be possible, yeah. So this should be extended by using your model name, because there will be a lot of extension created by multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
So when does, so you can see like nothing can be done here because these are all disabled, grayed out. I will just add my menu item here now. Perfect. That's all. It's done. So I'll go ahead and I'll verify whether synchronization database on build is true. Yes, it is true. I'll go ahead and build this now. We'll wait for the results. So during this build process, what happens is it will pick up the data. So now the metadata means like these tables, forms, other stuff. It will be available only in the Visual Studio now. So once you build, what happens? It puts that record into this particular folder, that is C colon application
AOS service,
AOS
package
service
local
and
directory.
packages local directory. To your model, it will just keep updating it now. And as well, like we are doing a synchronization, right? So as part of the synchronization, it creates a copy of this in the SQL also. A new table will be created. Still it's happening. It says best practice check completed. And these are all the best practice errors, okay? So you'll have to fix all these things, whatever it shows. Table field not in failed group, something. Okay, so now the database synchronization is complete and build is complete. So now we can just try to open and visualize it. So once what happens once we build it, a new reference will be created in IAS. A new packages will be created in IAS. So like it will not allow you to work with the same UI already it was available. We'll try to refresh that UI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go back here and go to accounts payable. So now my brand details is available. Click on this, it opens. So this SUD brand ID, I believe there's no proper label for it, so it is displaying. By default, you can see a few things, a new and delete button and edit buttons are available. So this comes by standard. We haven't written any code for it. So let's say brand ID, I'll say it as Apple. So after saving, you shouldn't be used to, you can see after saving, you're not able to edit this property, but you can go to edit this one. That's because of that property, allow edit on create. Okay, so I have created two brands. Quickly, I can just go ahead and create one more form. So I can just show how to open one form to another form by using some relations and other stuff. Okay, so I'll create one more form quickly. SUD service table, and I'll add this data source. I'll have to create all the patterns. Simple list, new action pane, and I have to create a new group now. For this group, I'll set custom filters and quick filter control, and I'll add a grid. For this grid now, I'll just add data source and data group. So now data group is not it will not be that useful because two fields here and two fields there. Date is available here and identification is available there. Instead, I'll drag and drop from the fields directly, whichever I need. Okay, I'll drag and drop, and I'll reorder this field. Brand number, service description, service and ID, and service type to above. Fine. This all okay now. I'll create a new display menu item again. Service table. So here I will attach the object name as SUD service table. Okay, so now we quickly created the first enum. So the first menu item I added to the accounts payable menu directly. So now what I'm trying to do is I will add this menu, add this option directly here. I'll add this option here as creating a button. So when I click on this, it opens the corresponding service details for this brand. So let's say like how many Apple mobiles I have in service and how many Samsung mobiles I have in service. Let's check that. Okay. For that, I'll open the form SUD brand table, and under the action pane bar, I'll create a new button group. Okay. So under this new button group, let's say this as button group, and data source. I'll associate this to this brand table data source, so that whenever I have that button, click that button, it will take this data source into picture for passing the record. Fine. So then to this button group, I'll simply drag and drop the service table inside menu item. So menu item means when I click on this, what happens? This opens the form. So it will come like this. Service table is come. So I think I added a service table, is it? So let's see. Let's change this. Stop service table. Let's say service details. I'll drag and drop. Okay, service details now. So what happens to this data thing? So I will just associate the data source to be SUD brand table. So whenever I click this button, what happens? It opens a particular form. SUD brand table form it opens by taking the data source as SUD brand table. And since there is a relation automatically, it will get filtered. The record will be filtered. Apple or Samsung, it will get filtered automatically. Okay. So I'll quickly build it and show you the output. Okay. The build is complete. I'll refresh this form. Okay, so for first record, say Apple, I'll go to service details. You can see a new button has got created. I'll open the service details, so it'll open the other form, the next form. Okay, so here
But if you want
if we
to open as a dialog,
dialog, so we'll have to create a dialog form actually. So the form pattern type is there, no? So there instead of simple list, we have to provide it as dialog.
okay.
So let's say Apple, it's an in repair, and let's leave this service start date as of now. Save the record, and I'll create one more new record. 1, 2, 3. Let's say it as Apple. Save it. Okay, I created 2 records for Apple and 1 record for Samsung. We'll have to restrict it actually. Okay, we'll write for further codes for restricting it. So here, when I open from the Apple, so maybe from the Apple I go to service details, it filters and shows me only Apple records. And when I go to Samsung and do service details, it will show you only the service Samsung records. So I haven't written any code as of now. So this is taking by using the relation. Fine.
Okay.
Okay. So I planned till now till here actually. So we'll just see
That's
about the
enough.
methods. Yeah, we'll see about the methods next session.
Even I can't take it more.
Yeah. So I will forward you some documents so that you can practice of your own. Step-by-step documents are there.
So
Okay.
step-by-step documents and this video by tomorrow, and whenever next, by tomorrow I have to do whatever you did.
Tomorrow. Okay. So I'll try to upload it right now. I'll try to download it right now. Upload it. Okay.
Okay, Muthu, thank you. The remaining value I